Hello and welcome to this Hockey Inside Out Show bonus episode. I'm Stu Cowan of the Gazette, and I'm joined by my regular partners here, former Canadiens teammates and 1986 Stanley Cup champs, Rick Green and Chris Nilan. Well, guys, Canadiens defenseman Noah Dobson missed the first 6 games of the first round series against Tampa Bay with a thumb injury, but he returned for the 2-1 win in Game 7, with Arber Xhekaj, not surprisingly, I guess, being made a healthy scratch. Rick, with Dobson healthy again, do you think Xhekaj will play at all against the Sabres if there aren't any more injuries?
If there aren't any more injuries, unfortunately, Arber, I don't think is going to, get slotted in there. It's always him that seems to get targeted, and you got a numbers game here, right? And there's guys and feelings from the staff that they don't want to use him in certain situations, and yet if you look at the minutes played, Struble is way down in minutes played now, and they're rotating a lot of the 5 defense. But you've got to have the 6 guys going. The unfortunate part is, Arber, like the whole year, he's been targeted as a guy that is the easy fix to come out. As much as he's effective in his physical play and what he does and what he brings. The numbers game dictates, no, maybe not tonight. And, talking about Dobson stepping in there after missing 2 or 3 weeks, I thought he did a hell of a job for a guy that hadn't played in so much time and stepped in there in a critical situation. And it just shows you the skill set and his smarts and his ability to be able to come out of the stands and do a good job and made some big plays. And mind you, he was only used under 20 minutes, but they're in a good situation. If they can stay healthy, they have guys that they can rely on in the event that somebody does get injured. At least some guys can step in there and fill the void.
Knuckles, what did you think about the way Arber played in those first 6 games, and were you surprised they took him out?
I thought he played well. There were times, listen, he had his moments that, a little bit of indecision here or there that turning the puck over in his own end. But there isn't one of them that hasn't done that this series every game. But he does it, and I don't know. It's like they lose confidence in him right away. Listen, Struble, like Rick said, his minutes were way down. What do you have? 5 minutes in Game 7, and he got walked that one time there, big time. So going into Buffalo and starting in there, do they put Arber in and give him a shot in that building? I don't know. Let's ask Arber. Arber, do you want to play? Yeah, he does. Do you think you'll play, Arber? Okay, so there's your answer. He doesn't think he's going to play. But we'll see. We'll see. But again, it's if you're a coach, it's a good problem to have too many D. And, the playoffs are long. There's injuries. And it's good when guys can step in and play. And he's been used to that all year, in and out of the lineup. So, it's unfortunate, but that's the way it goes. You need everybody. And you just got to stay ready. I mean, if they call on them, get your ass in there and do the best you can.
So, Rick, I guess if you were coaching the defense, you'd be suggesting they do put Arber in for Game 1?
I would like to see him. I think he would make a statement in a good way. Like I said, Struble's been used sparingly, and to have Arber in the lineup, he'll command some respect out there, and he'll keep some of those speedy Buffalo forwards aware that he's on the ice and you better have your head up. And that's a nice ingredient to have back there on the blue line, especially, in playoff time.
Well, Knuckles, Arber can become a restricted free agent this summer. And, there's limited spots on the blue line. You got Reinbacher coming up also. Does Arber have a future with this team beyond this season? Or does it maybe be best thing for him to go somewhere else where he can play?
Who knows? Listen, I'm sure he wants to play here. Doesn't want to go anywhere else. There's something about this whole thing. I mean, come on, look how far they've come, and not to be here to reap the benefits of that. But he also wants to play. I get it. I would hope that he gets an opportunity to come in next year and actually play instead of being in and out. And like, let's give him a chance to. Yeah, it seems like every time he made a mistake, he got pulled out. And I don't know. I just, I certainly have a soft spot for him, but I would like to see him stay here. Believe me, if he ends up going out there, there's so many teams will take him in a heartbeat. So many.
Oh yeah. That's got to be tough mentally, though, Rick. And Arber's spoken about that a bit. I was tries not to get in his head. He's played well, and then he's come out, and they want him to be physical, but they don't want him to go over the line. He seems to be targeted by officials at times, too. Like, he gets called for chintzy sort of roughing penalties that other guys probably wouldn't. How difficult is that? I mean, you've worked with a lot of young defensemen to not let that get in your head.
It is difficult, and he's always the one that's scrutinized when it comes down to questionable plays. And the scenario that I would love to see play out is him get in the lineup and be really, really solid and effective in his ability to know exactly what he needs to bring each and every shift. Be solid defensively, not running around trying to make the big hit because he's going to get them, and just get into a style of play that suits him each and every game, that's going to allow him to be part of the organization. And if he feels that, when it comes to re-signing, that he's going to be one of those guys that's going to be in, out of the lineup, he's going to have to make a decision. There's no future here because of the depth that they have. But, that remains to be seen. I'm just hopeful that he gets in there and he does a hell of a job with, consistent, good defensive play and, go from there.
Well, he has said he wants to stay in Montreal. I mean, his brother playing Florian, playing in Laval, his family from Hamilton. It's not too far from to come watch them play. But one of the things that impressed me, I mean, he's obviously disappointed not to play in Game 7, Knuckles, but the video in the room after the game of Marty St. Louis, celebrating with his teammates, and Arber's sitting there in the stall, sitting beside Struble, and he's smiling and stomping his feet and pounding his chest. I think that speaks a lot about not just him, but also sort of the culture that the Canadiens have built in the locker room.
Yeah, they certainly have. You can tell they have that good culture. There's no question. That's the coach leading the way, right? But Nick too. Nick, honestly, as a captain, he's really impressed me. And they draft character people, right? They draft character people. And let's just go to Shane Wright and Slavkovsky. Come on. They did interviews with those players. I've heard Wright in interviews. I've heard him. Like, I'm not throwing gas in a match on the kid, but boy, you look at Slav and the character and what he's been through in his life. Playing over in Finland there when he was 16 years old, living on his own. I mean, calling his mom if he wasn't sure about how to cook something. Hello, who does that at 16? That's a character builder, that kid. He got backbone. They draft some character people. They've traded for some character people. There's no question, and the culture here has certainly changed, and it's a destination now. I remember times we were on here and saying nobody wants to play here. Nobody wants to play, the taxes and the pressure and you bring in a crew like they have here, and Gorton and Hughes and Marty St. Louis, and then the players they brought in, it can become a destination. Guys want to play it. It's a great place to play. A great place to play. A lot of fun.
Rick, you were an assistant. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I just going to say, and something will never change is you put as many winners and character in the room as you can. Surround those ones that are questionable. They're going to have to follow suit, or they're going to be on the outside looking in. And they've done a hell of a job in finding and identifying those character guys. And as you can see in the past, they want everybody on board for doing everything they can to find a way to win. And the ones that don't buy into it are either gone, or they're not playing, or they will be gone. And you got to give full marks to that organization for, first of all, drafting those kind of guys to put in the room, and understanding what they're going to bring long term. And they're a young team, and there's nothing but a bright future for a lot of those guys in that dressing room.
Rick, you were an assistant coach for a long time with the Canadiens, working with the defenseman. What would you be saying to Arber right now if you were sitting with him one-on-one?
I would love to pick his brain and have a conversation with him and say, okay, listen, what part of the game do you really want to do each and every shift? And I always used to try and identify with the young guys. Listen, don't go too crazy by taking 5 different things out of the type of game that you should be playing, because you get a little bit overwhelmed. Break it down to 2 or 3 things per period that you like to do well, the things that you know how to do, and identify them, bring it, and the rest of the game will play out in your favor. But don't knock yourself out trying to be something you're not, and just keep and play within your capabilities, keeping it simple. And of course, as a defenseman, you want to make sure that you're really solid and not a liability, because when you're a liability, you don't get a chance to play in key situations. And he has to make that decision, and understanding that what he needs to do and what he shouldn't be doing to get himself in trouble. And I'm hopeful that he'll come out on top with making real good decisions every time he gets on the ice.
What would you be saying to him, Knuckles?
He who hesitates is lost. Mm-hmm. Often, that simple play is a play to make, and there's time I think he can't hang on to the puck, and he can make plays, certainly, but you got to recognize the situation in front of you. There's a time you have to, there's a time you might have to put it off the boards and look like a player from the 80s, not a player who passed it into his own slot in front of his own goalie to his partner or the center iceman, So, yeah, keep it simple. Play within your capabilities, and don't run around like a nut. Be able to snuff plays out, but be in control. Be able to contain and finish. Those things, and be good with your stick. He's a big man, and when those little shifty guys, especially in tight areas in the corner, if you throw yourself at them and they give you the little dipsy do, you're done. You miss them and they're by you. And now somebody else is in trouble. They're in a 2-on-1 situation. So he's got to be able to contain and certainly finish and snuff plays out. But, yeah, we'll see what happens. Just stay positive and keep going. He's a great kid.
All right. Well, that's it for this bonus episode. I hope you all enjoyed it. We'll have another bonus episode coming up over the next couple of days, a special one with Knuckles talking about what it was like for him to carry the torch into the Bell Center ahead of Game 6 against the Lightning, which was very cool, so you don't want to miss that episode. The Hockey Inside Out show is available now on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and in case you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the Hockey Inside Out YouTube channel.